everybody. This is Michelle Moross. If you're wondering who in the world is Michelle and why am I listening to her, go to my website, www.michellemoross.com. That's MICHELLEMRAS.com. And if you are privileged enough to be looking at who is on this call right now, it's me and JC. So anyways, today I have this really awesome guy with me. And I'm saying a lot because I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. JC, I met him at a breakthrough business boot camp. I didn't actually meet him there. I met him through someone who did it because he never attended. I just knew his name from it. And then I went to a bigger event and I ran into him there. And it was funny because I met him as a Facebook friend first and then saw his face and went, I know you. I finally get to meet you. And how many cool times you get to actually meet someone that you have friended on Facebook and you never met in person. That's how I met JC Soto. If you're wondering who JC is, he is the founder and owner of Online Media 360. And you can learn more about that by going to www.onlinemedia360.com. Welcome, JC.
Thank you for having me, Michelle.
I'm so glad you're brave enough to join me on my show because it's like, do you want to come on my show? Sure. I never told him what it was about, never told him anything about it, just wanted him on. He just found out that we talked for an hour. So yay. You never know what you're going to get with me, right?
That's right.
So JC, what does your Online Media 360 business do? What do you do?
Online Media 360 is about authority positioning and also creating sales funnels for small business owners. So on the authority positioning side, I help coaches, speakers, and authors to position themselves as the authority in the market or the field so they can stand out. You know, most people nowadays use the same type of marketing and nobody's standing out. It's like, it's really noisy out there and nobody's standing out. Nobody's doing something different to stand out. So the strategy is to do some things that help that person when somebody's going to go to Google and say, well, I'm going to find out who JC is. I want that person to find good stuff about this client. And on the other side, which is the lead funnel or sales funnel side, we help small business owners to follow up. And that's one of the worst things that business owners do is not following up. They're really bad at doing that. So we build funnels to bring customers back and buy from them again.
Well, that's cool. Now, and how do you do that? I mean, do you do, well, it's online media, so you don't do print stuff, right? You do social media things or electronic or?
So what we do is what's called trust triggers. And trust triggers might be a press release. It might be help them to write their own book or become part of a book that's already has some authors sign up for that book, which is an anthology. We help them with a podcast. I have a podcast and bring them on podcast. We have a platform that we can get them to submit articles and some get more visibility. And also we do some part of social media. We do some help with email marketing. So we do a whole kind of a wheel with different spokes. So we get kind of a visibility and credibility from different angles.
Okay. So, I mean, what I wrote down earlier was authority positions, sales, and lead funnels. And I'm like, for those of us who have no idea what that is, what does that mean? And you just answer that, to do trust triggers like press releases and things like that. Because, you know, people like me, entrepreneurs, you know, we go out and we know we need to do things, but we have no idea what it is. And then we see people doing things, and so we try to copy it. And it's more than just taking a nice quote and putting it on your page or into your website or whatever. There's a science behind it. You do that. You do the science behind why people buy, right? Why people come to a business or a product.
That's right. We help them establish that trust into that business. We build the trust, build the credibility. And it's like, you know, years back, you will think twice about getting to somebody's stranger's vehicle. Now it's common in practice to jump into an Uber or Lyft without even asking twice because we trust them now for the most part. So that's what's going on now. So we do that with a lot of companies. So small business owners been missing that part of the business or the marketing strategy to create that trust and be kind of the go-to business in their industry.
So do you help with branding then? Because that's a big part of trust.
That part of, yeah, that's part of branding. We do branding in a way that we like branding. People think about just logos and doing this slogan and these other kind of a more of a also print uh, kind of a marketing. We don't do that part of it. We assist with getting someone to help with that, but we do mostly online. We do the actual strategy to create the trust triggers and get people to start really looking at that company from a different angle.
The consistency of a brand.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's huge. I've seen a lot of businesses where they do great things, but they're so inconsistent on when they do it or how they do it, or their font keeps changing or the image keeps changing. You're like, you're causing confusion on every post or whatever you do because the human brain likes consistency.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to online, there's so many scammers online. There's so many dishonest people online. You want to be able to trust that company you're dealing with. Years back, SEO was the big thing, but SEO has changed to the point that, most companies can get on the first page of Google. So when it comes to that, then how do you decide which one to choose? Unless you have something that specifically has strategy about that company that can help them stand out.
Well, sometimes people pay big money just to get on that first page and they really have nothing.
It hacks, exactly. They don't have any leads. They don't have any sales. They don't have any traffic. So so that goal of getting to that first page of Google is not the end goal anymore. Now you have to do more than that. You have to go beyond being on the first page of Google. And a lot of business or clients that I have, they don't even care about it being on the first page of Google. They just want to be the chosen one. They want people to just go straight to the website. Forget about Google. Forget about being distracted by the competitors. They want to be they go to. I want my customers to find me straight into my website.
Yeah, avoid the noise, come straight to me.
Yeah, that's it.
So, JC, you do everything electronically. So the stuff that scares so many entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or small businesses, that all that sciencey, techie stuff, that's what you do.
That's what I do, and it's funny because it's becoming a more of a it used to be a guessing game. Now it's more of a science. Now we have the numbers to back it up. We have the stats, we have the studies, and we know how people are going to respond. Just with social media, people know how a post going to become viral, why a video becomes viral. So all the stats are slowly piling up. You got Facebook, you got Google, you got other companies. They have the data and know how people are going to respond.
So you actually look at those things behind all those analytics and they say, like when Facebook says, your post can reach so many people at this amount. And do you track that? Do you understand that?
Yeah, we track that because we also have restaurants that are our clients, and we kind of manage their Google and Facebook accounts, and so we track when we post maybe a picture, image, or a video. We track how many likes we get, how many shares we get, how many check-ins we get, so we know that what time of the day works better, what the colors that work better, the text that works better. We have pretty much everything. Even on the Amazon, we do books, Kindle version of the books, and we look at the data. What are the best keywords? What's the best description? What's the best title? So we run a bestseller campaign. We go from doing looking at the book and looking at who else might be maybe publishing the book on that day. What's the competition? So we do all the analytics from every angle possible before launching our books.
JC, where were you 4 years ago when I needed you?
I was here in Denver.
Yeah. I did it the hard way. I just put it out. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't even know people like you existed. I mean, I just thought you just did it and you did it. I didn't realize that there were people who actually specialized and paid attention and understood what all it meant. So when I would get things that say, oh, watch your analytics, or, your book release date. So when are you going to do this? Or, Kindle would say, do you want to do a $1 sell and try to get bestseller? And I went, I'm not going to do any of that.
Yeah. And the funny part is that before we have Kindle, for years, a lot of the book publishers did the same thing offline. They would buy a lot of the books for any author, and they'll push their numbers up as a bestseller. So they'll take maybe 5,000 books, they buy them up, and then they distribute them maybe at colleges or events, but that will count as a bestseller. That will pump up the numbers. So, and those stats are available now because it's now it's so rampant that it's available. But everything is stats, everything is numbers, everything is figures. They have all this stuff. They're collecting our numbers every day. We know that Facebook is. They know when even we yawn and we have cereal for breakfast. So they know everything about us.
I know. All I had to do was like search one thing, and suddenly everything on Facebook is like, look at this, look at this, look at this. I'm like, how did they know I looked at that one outfit? But they do. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, and they follow us around. So.
Well, one, I'm very upset that I didn't know you when I had to do my books and when I launched my business, because I did it all myself, not knowing what I was doing. And I learned the hard way because I'm sure I lost a lot of things. And then the inconsistency of my brand, I didn't know what I was. And so the only thing I was very good at was I was very timely on when I did my Facebook Lives. And that's about as consistent as I got. Everything else was, the numbers were crazy for me. I didn't understand them.
Yeah.
And here you were.
Yeah, but there is so much stuff online. The amount of avenues to marketing, to promote, there is so crazy that it can be confusing, even for guys like me that study this stuff every day. There's something coming in every day that we have to look at, and we have to pay attention to that. It's when authority positioning came out, it was more of a something that people were doing, but it was not a science. It was more of a something that people stumble by accident. That if I do this and this and this, I get more visibility for my brand and for myself. But people really didn't have a system or strategy to follow up with that, from doing, say, a book and then follow that through social media, through offline, through emails. So that's why we put everything together as a whole strategy. So it kind of combines every single strategy or many strategies into one complete plan.
Now, I know you were, I saw a post, well, I think it was on LinkedIn actually, where you shared a post of a mutual friend. Her magazine was, she had a summit, and her magazine or her summit was being picked up by huge organizations like ABC, NBC, that kind of thing. Do you do that? Do you find that kind of thing often? Do you do that often for people, or was just that summit so amazing?
No, we do. We have, like I said again, we have contacts with a lot of syndications that we submit a press release, it's pretty much, I won't say guaranteed, but there are so many websites out there, so many platforms that need content. So we are in touch with all these platforms. They need content constantly. Now, when you're talking about NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, CW, those are the big ones, and they get content all the time from other people. So to get us in there takes us a little more effort, and we have to follow their guidelines to submit the press releases, and they got to check our press release to make sure they follow their strict guidelines. But there are, back in the old days, it used to be that you had to beg to get your press release published. Most of the time we'll end up in the trash. You didn't even know about it. Now there are so many websites and less editors. So now they're getting a lot of traffic, but less people to look at, okay, what are these press releases about? Is it really worth publishing on a website? So now when we get in contact with these websites and we submit our press release, we know what they're looking for. They want something that is newsworthy, an event, something that is different. They don't want any sales copy. They don't want anything about talking about look how great I am. They want something that it's going to bring their readers in and keep it on the website.
Okay, so then I'm thinking like help a reporter out.
Yes, that's another good one also. And we are working. The difference with Haro, as it's called, the difference with them is that they have a lot of different subjects.
Yeah.
Our subject is marketing, so you have to dig and dig and dig to Haro to find something that relates to my client or relates to you as a marketer. So it takes a lot of time, and sometimes it's more competitive too. So it's a little more difficult.
Okay. I've seen that pop up on my screen a lot. You should apply. You should put in an article for HARO. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
is that? Is that something I need to be paying attention to? They're like, oh, you can get published. And I'm thinking, think of all the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that are doing that.
Yeah.
Curious if
So,
you use that.
yeah, and you gotta be alert because when they send you the request, it can be 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You
Yeah,
gotta be ready to go. I mean, there's
yeah,
no way. I get it to you tomorrow. No, we got another 5,000 people that are gonna submit it. So
yeah.
you
It
get it.
was gone. It's gone instantly.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well, then, so my next question for you then is onlinemedia360.com. JC Soto, what brought that to your awareness? What brought that into your world? Why did you decide to to found this company?
well, before back in the old days, I was an Air Force guy. So I left the Air Force and I started working for Lockheed Martin in the aeronautics here in Denver. So I was working in the aerospace division. I got laid off and I bought a bunch of businesses. So while I was doing that, I was learning marketing. So because people are really good at doing what they do, their craft. They may be good at auto mechanics, they might be a good plumber. But when it comes to marketing, they fail miserably. So I have to learn marketing. So back in 2008, when the economy crashed, I lost my business, but I had my marketing knowledge, and I was doing a lot of business on eBay, and I was learning how to use copy on eBay, copywriting and selling. I was selling pretty much over the world auto parts. So I was selling to Japan, Australia, London. I mean, I was selling stuff everywhere. So that kind of helped me with the copywriting, learning more marketing, the fact that you can see the before and after when you do a marketing campaign excites me. So it's to be able to see a result really excited me. So I started learning about authority positioning and publishing books and doing a sales funnel for businesses. So I kind of combine everything, and that's called Online Media 360. So it combines all the things that a business owner is too busy to do themselves, with promotion, marketing, follow up. Uh, Even we're doing some newsletters also for some insurance companies. So we help them out with pretty much everything. But our core is positioning. We want to position the business into their industry as the obvious choice. Want people to see. It's like when you say, well, you don't say search anymore, you say Google it.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make that business a celebrity locally in their local market, in the industry. So when you talk about, well, I need insurance, well, go to so and so. So I'll do that. And I'm also bilingual, so I help also Hispanic businesses with their business. And another part of our whole strategy, which is big, is web design. We do web design for like restaurants in Spanish. We do restaurants, Facebook follow up for restaurants in Spanish. So we do a lot. We do pretty much everything, but not as a piece here and piece there, but we do everything as a plan.
Okay. Well, then you said another word that I want to hear more about. I'm always hearing this word funnels. What is a funnel and why would I even want to pay attention to it?
Well, a funnel is a way to filter your prospects into when it goes, you set up your campaign and you're going to get the attention from some people and they're going to start coming to see you. But a lot of them, there's a saying that, people they know, like, and trust you, they're more likely to do business with you. But the fact is, unless they're ready, willing, and able, they're not going to spend the money. So that's where you get it. They got to be at the bottom. They're ready to make that choice. They're sick of their problem, right? They're willing to spend the money, and they're able. They have the resources to pay for it. Yeah. So that's what the funnel does. The funnel does kind of filter those people, pre-qualify, so you don't have to be calling, everybody that comes to your funnel and follow up with them personally, because you don't have time to do that. So you want the prime, and at any time, only 3% of the people that contact you are ready to purchase. Only 3%. So once you have these people in your funnel, if they're willing to receive your message, then you follow up, because it takes between 6 and sometimes 10 messages before that person decides to come and become your client or customer.
And you can set up automatic things like that.
Yeah,
But
we set up the follow-up campaign, a drip campaign. We can have a 7-day campaign, or we can have a year campaign. And at the end of the year, it kind of resets back to the first day with messages and educational messages and sales messages. So it's a combination of things.
so would the person or the client that you're working with, would they have to write the copy for that and then send you the information that they want you to shape? Or do they just let you figure it out and they, you basically know their business and you create copy for them and then you do that?
Both, both. We have businesses that have been off and on doing their marketing, but they're not really consistent. So we take what they have and we use it and we add our own stuff. We have businesses that have no idea. They don't even have a mailing list. So we start from there. I mean, which is it's shocking that business that I have a business that was there for 32 years did not have a mailing list. So we had to start from scratch and then collect those names, and then we write the messages and we get the okay from them, and then we start sending the messages out. So we send about 3 educational messages and 1 sales message. So we don't keep people bombarding people with sales messages all the time.
So here's my next question. So funnels rely on email campaigns, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
People actually answer emails?
Yes, they do. But think about it. What kind of food do you like?
Japanese.
Japanese. If a Japanese restaurant sends you, Michelle, thank you for stopping by. Here's 50% off to come back to our restaurant. Will you open that email and say,
Yes,
yeah,
I would.
okay. Well, that's the reason. It's targeted. So people that
So
really
it's
wants to stay
targeted to people that already come to you once.
there. Yes. Yeah.
So
And it's targeted to people that were past clients and they were inactive. Now they're inactive. They're not purchasing anymore. So, for example, we had a doctor that he had patients that were not follow up with. In a period of 2 weeks, he collected $21,000 because we reactivated those people. We send them a discount coupon to come back, and that's found money for the doctor.
So basically, they're kind of like little reminders. Hey, you liked me before. I'm still.
Exactly. Yeah, you trusted me before. We're still here, and come back. We love you.
Okay, so and that's what I wanted to make sure we got through, because a lot of people hear the word funnels and that kind of word and they do, oh gosh, it's like a spam, spam thing. They're gonna just start flooding people. I don't want to do a funnel. I'm not doing that because that's not for me. I'm not giving people access to my list because I promised people I would never use that list to spam them. Well, they gave you their email because they trusted you.
Yeah, exactly.
And they trust you not to sell it. Well, you're not selling it. You are using that email to stay in contact with them so you can provide them more services that you are now providing or you've been providing, offering them something else because they've forgotten that you were there. People are so top of mind oriented that when they don't see something, that's why commercials are so important, right? If it's not right in front of our faces, we forget that it exists. Yeah. But when I get an email from, let's say, I don't know, the Japanese restaurant that says, hey, 50% off if you come on Thursday nights, I'll do, you know what? I might come on a Thursday night because I want the 50% off. And it will break it's a pattern interrupt, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
It forces me to do, oh, wait a minute. I did like them and I haven't been on that side of town, but 50% off, I'll come over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I was pulling your leg. I did know what funnels were. But the thing is that's what the fear is, what you hear is people are like, oh no, I don't do that. Yeah. Or in my case, I had a list, but I never did anything with it.
And to your point, the top of mind thing, there was a study years back, and they asked people, tell me the brand that has the bunny.
Energizer.
Yeah, you said it. But people were guessing Everready, Duracell. It was only 20% of the people. Now, you know how much they advertise. I mean, they are pretty much, you can say every day and in every major event on TV. And people still did not know. And one of the reasons is not because people are not paying attention. It's because generations come and go. New people come on, So it takes a while for people to start remembering. So now, you tell the millennials about maybe something that was from back in 2000 and they don't know anything about it. Maybe 10 years from now, they'll remember it because, they start getting used to the message. So it's got to be repetitive. Now, also you said that, people are afraid of getting bombarded. That's not what we do. If somebody comes to our list and say for an insurance company, the messages that we send out are for like, how to save money in your insurance, how to get your car ready for winter, how you have to get your car ready for summertime,
So informational things.
informational, educational, helpful stuff that people want to read it. Because if you like, it's like in numbers, insurance companies, the amount of people that have an accident or a fender bender every day, or run into maybe a weather issue is pretty significant. So we send those messages and we hit, if they're not going to read it now and apply it now, maybe next month when the winter starts, they're going to remember that, oh, let me see what so-and-so sent me about having a kit in my car for winter. They send it. So that's how we do it.
Well, and I wanted to point that out, the specifics of that, because what JC in Online Media 360 does is they track really when are your best open rates for those emails, right? So you're just like, if for entrepreneurs or small businesses that just, well, I've got my list, I'm just going to start sending out things. There's a science behind when you do it. And just like Facebook Lives, I mean, there is a science on what time to do it. I mean, I locked myself on noon because it's easier for me. But I found when I do my Facebook Lives at 7 o'clock at night, I'll have 500 people on the call. So that's what JC and his company do. They know when's the best time best time of day or week of the day of the week to send out an email that people will actually open it. And once they open it, then, I mean, he's opening opportunities that you may not ever get. And I'm thinking with small businesses and small companies who are doing all this on their own, they're like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm just going to send all my emails out, and I'll drop it at midnight. At 8 o'clock in the morning, when people are opening their emails at work, your midnight one is probably number 5,222 at that point. So they don't see it. And so that's why it's important to have people like JC and his team looking at what you do. I mean, even if you just go in and just get a consult of what you're doing versus what you really need to be doing, because it may sound, you've got to work smarter, right? Work better, not harder. And as small businesses, especially, and entrepreneurs, we work so hard at our craft. And we think because we started it on our own, we need to keep on our own. In this fast-moving technology world we live in, it's virtually impossible to do everything you need to be able to do to keep your business afloat by yourself. You need a team around you, team of experts who know more about other things than you know. So basically you stay in your wheelhouse and you find people that do other things. JC looks at these numbers and this analytic stuff and does, you know what? I got this. I look at those things and do, never mind, I'll just keep talking and I'll do this other thing because it's not my wheelhouse. So what I'm trying to share with all of you right now, or what I am sharing with all of you right now, is find people who know what you don't know. We all know what we don't know and we just keep trying to do it anyways. We're working harder, working smarter, working better, working well is what we want to do. Find people who know more than you. If you're not really good at analytics and all this authority positioning and stuff, then don't do it. Because the amount of energy you expend to try to figure out what JC does by just merely breathing, how many other business opportunities have you lost trying to do the job that JC can do in his sleep? That's where I'm at. You surround yourself with a better team. Find yourself people who know what they're doing. Because I know darn well, I surround myself with people who know what they're doing. Right, JC?
That's right. And one more tip that I want to give your listeners. Even if you don't have a sales copy, story, sending an entertaining, interesting story that applies to people. Maybe something that is taken from the news or something that is uplifting, but a story. Don't send out a really boring, dry message out because that turns people off. People want to be entertained. They want to be educated. Stories, even if you don't have anything to say, just send a story. What happened to you? what happened to your family, what happened in your vacation. Don't make it a whole thesis about it, but send a, entertaining
First
story.
copy of my book, yeah.
So sending something that, at least tells them, I'm here. And this, I have a life too.
Is this something like a blog kind of thing? Do you help with that kind of thing?
Yeah, we help with blogs. We don't do many blogs, to be honest. We do. We only have done it, like I said, as part of a whole blueprint, but
Mhm.
we don't do it individually because people are. It takes a lot of time and takes a lot of resources, and some people are afraid to spend the resources, and it takes time to show results, just like SEO. That's why we do the drip campaigns. We do the authority positioning because it takes less time to start showing results. But writing a blog and getting people to read the blog and getting your traffic and getting some results is a process. And most people, business owners, are not that patient.
Yeah, they don't have the time for it either.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is something you shared with me when you found out I had a radio show, and then you also found I had a Facebook Live I do every Wednesday, and you're like, are you repurposing that? It was such a simple concept. Are you repurposing? And I'm like, what do you mean repurposing? Like recycling it? I mean, how would I recycle that? I'm like, it's a blog. It's a mailer. It's what you could be, and you could be sending those, putting them in, having them transcribed and send those out on your funnel. And I went, that's the reason I never did a funnel. I didn't know what to send. I mean, I don't have time to redo anything. I mean, rewrite. And I didn't have to because I'm doing it already.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
you can take, like, say, this video. In my case, I have a podcast and I ask questions specifically that will stand on their own. So I take maybe 3 minutes of that video, I chop it up, and I post it on Facebook. I did that recently with Gary Barnes. So that alone is a post, and I had really good response. So you can repurpose that, and you can take also the text, transcribe it, and put it on Facebook. You put it on LinkedIn. You can make a post on your own website, and you can add a little end and a beginning to it, and make a short article. You can do a lot of things with that. You can take also a picture of say me and put a quote that I said, and just post it on Facebook from this interview. So there are a lot of things you can do with repurposing content, and doesn't have to be uh, the struggle. You can even while I'm driving, you can record yourself speaking. And you can take that and transcribe it and use that as a text for your blog. Or you can post, if you're doing a video when you're driving, you can post that on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. So there are ways to do it.
I say I've got this doing some crazy transcribing of every radio show, every Facebook Live I've ever done right now, because I've got things to do with it. And I'm kind of wondering, should we just end the show at 30 minutes? And then, because I'm like, really? I've seen you do your video with Gary Barnes, and it's very short. And my radio show, well, it's a radio show. It's a PBS station, so people listen a lot longer on radio. But I'm wondering, maybe I should be chopping it up in smaller bits and sending out the smaller bits, part 1, part 2, or something like that.
Oh, you can get a lot of mileage from 30 minutes. Imagine 3-minute pieces. If you take probably the beginning of the end of that interview, maybe we're just talking, but say 24 minutes of that was actual teaching. Now you chop it off 3 minutes a piece, you have 8 pieces of 3 minutes you can just put out there. So it's content that is not being reused. You can also, and that's one of the things that I do, is when I interview people, I give them the chance of taking that interview and put it in the book as an anthology, as the Q&A. So because most of the interview, just like this one, is content. It's not sales. It's stuff that will actually help people, some really good content, educational content. So I get people the opportunity to become part of a book, and it's a Q&A. So there are many chances to do that, and having, take one interview, take one blog, and just chop it up. Because for one thing, it's funny because even Amazon has a section that is for short books, really short books, 15 minutes. People don't want they don't want the whole complete encyclopedia of these and that. They want, give me the answer now so I can go on. So that's what they want.
Well, that's cool because this means that all these past 2 years of shows I've had that have been 58 minutes long with no commercials, I've got so much content, I never have to work again.
That's right. Just, put a nice title to it, like I did with the recent one. It was something about beliefs or fears or beliefs. That's something that people can relate to, and it just got so it was great response because it was all explaining what's the difference and how to deal with them.
Wow. Well, everyone out there who's watching or listening, we are talking to JC Soto of Online Media 360. And that's online media and the number 360.com. And he is the founder and owner. Basically, their main objective is positioning companies for success. And they do authority positions, sales and lead funnels, and trust triggers like press releases, and they help with writing books and good grief, podcast platforms. You name it, you got it, you can think of it. JC Soto and his company, Online Media 360, does it. And all I'm doing is thinking, my gosh, you would have made my life so much easier. I have a lot of regrets right now, but I don't believe in looking back. So right now I'm just living in regret that I never knew you existed before I did all the things I did. But now through this call, through this interview, this conversation with Michelle that we're having right now, I've learned so much about what I can do to move forward.
Yeah, and we do authority positioning because people want to deal with experts. If you're gonna have heart transplant, you don't want to go to the guy in the corner that has a little shack and has a knife and a little lamp to do a surgery on you. You want the top, you want the best, you want the expert, you want someone that has the social proof that he is good. So that's what we do. We want people to deal with the expert, the best one, the stand out, the go-to person. That's what authority position is, and that's why we have to create those trust triggers, because people are not going to just go and jump and say, well, I'm going to go to you. No, I want to see who you are, what you do, what you've done, and who's talking about you, good or bad.
I'm just thinking I need you still. I mean, I've managed to do it in my own business, but it's like, I know there's 15 times better I could be doing that I'm not doing. And that's a thing, people who are listening and watching. There's always more you can do to make yourself grow or look better, grow and improve. And by listening to people like JC and seeing the work he does and see the work he's done with people that he's worked with, you can measure up and try to figure out, how can I make me better? Or how do I grow my business to the next level? Because here's the thing, if you're in business, you have to have a goal, right? And if you're not planning on that goal, then you're just in business forever. But you need a goal, and then you need to figure out how to get those numbers to change so you can get to that goal. And that's what JC does. He tracks it. He knows how to do it. He knows how to work it. He knows the language and how to put it out and when to put it out, so that you can be the best version of you as a human, as your company, as an entrepreneur.
That's right.
He is nodding his head yes, because that's what he does.
And one thing that a lot of business owners don't see is that if there's a point where they have to retire or they want to sell the business, the only asset they really have is a customer list.
Is their list? Yes.
Yeah, it's their list. You can have all these vehicles and cars and machines, but don't mean anything if you don't have customers or clients that you can, go to be able to keep that business going. So if you're retiring, if you're going to sell that business, all you have is a bunch of cars and signs, no customer list, no client list, you don't have an asset, because those vehicles eventually they'll become an expense. If nobody's giving you the money to support the vehicles, there's no asset there.
Yeah, the whole maintenance part of it. And part of this, the company I work with, the Bender Carry Group, we help businesses grow. So we do strategic plans all the way up to acquiring equipment and land and investors to invest and help the company grow. And then you've got people like me who train the people inside it so that they can work stronger, better, faster, but with the mindset of we're part of this.
Yeah.
And I forget, what's so cool about it is we always talk about, when a company comes in, what's your E date? Because your E date's your plan. Yeah, you're going to build this thing, but you can't say, I'm going to stay there forever, because everyone stops eventually. So are you going to work hard at building something, build it shaky because you're still not asking for help? You don't have a team. You're just kind of building it as you go. But you work so hard to build this entity. For what purpose? And that E date, that exit strategy, is what you really have to have your goal on. I need to have all of these things in a row, or I need all of this happening, so that when I decide to retire and sit on a beach with an umbrella in my drink, the company either is going on its own, or I have a customer list that's worth $10.5 million, because I know everything. I know what soda they drink, okay? And I know what their favorite restaurant is. So the more information you gather on people, though you may not ever use it, makes your list more and more profitable for when you have your E-Day and you're selling your company. Because what you do is you sell that list to the people who own your old company. They take the list with your customer clients, and the client really would not see a transition at all. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it a seamless transition into another human when you want to go away and lay on a beach somewhere, or lay in a hammock in the mountains, whatever your dream is. But you've got to have an E date of what you want. And then that list is your gold.
Yeah. And that's in businesses, just selling the business as the list. The new owner, they don't want the building, they don't want anything else. They want the customer list. They want the data. That's all they want. And it's coming down to what's called big data, which, the companies, that's the most important asset for this big company. It's called big data, because they have everything. And not only that, but there are companies that not only know about you, but they know about your kids. Your kids are going to be the target. They're going to be the next customer, the next client. So they want to have all that data. It's gold. To them, it's gold.
I mean, it sounds scary that someone's tracking how many kids you have in their birthdays, but that's what they're looking. They're looking long-term customer. So when they have the parents, they're like, okay, what are their children? Okay, now their children have children. Who are they? And they're looking for a long-term expansion of still having that same customer base, right?
Yes. Well, you have companies like Coca-Cola, IBM, Microsoft that have been around for a long time. So that's how they manage to stay around. They want to keep improving. Apple, they want to keep improving and find out what the next generation is going to be like. What do they want? So that's how they collect all this data. So from the time they're born to the time they get to college, they're studying it might not be individually, but as a group, as a demographic, they want to know, okay, this group of, say, example, millennials, what is it that they want now? What are they teaching their kids that when they grow up, what are those kids going to be like? So they're looking 20, 30, 40 years down the road. The Japanese, their plans are 50 years ahead.
Oh yeah, they've got 100-year strategy.
Exactly. So that's what American companies are doing now. They're looking forward to see what my kids are going to be doing, or their kids are going to be doing, and what's the possibility once they're growing up? What's the possibility? What's going to be available around them? How the world's going to be like? So they're already planning ahead. So that customer list that you have now is a seed for what's going to come 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now.
Isn't that crazy to have to think that far ahead? And I forgot what I wanted to ask you about that, but oh my gosh, I forgot. I'm thinking 30, 40 years ahead right now. But that's what the whole list is. I'll divert. I have a friend who talks about ClickFunnels things, funnels. He always talks about funnels. But he got really into that because he said, you must have a list, must build your tribe. And I'm like, I have a tribe. I talk to them all the time. He goes, can you reach them? Not really, not easy, not in one mass dose, no. And he's like, well, then you need to build that list and build it. And then he went into this whole thing, but basically the long story short is he had a company a couple of years back, and it was something simple like props for movie sets. Well, he kept track of everybody, every vendor, anyone who's ever come through, all of this stuff. He had them. He had their birthdays. He'd send them birthday cards. I mean, he knew everything about them. When he wanted out of the business, he sold it for like millions of dollars. He doesn't have to work anymore because that list fed him for a very, very long time. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dream list. But he said he didn't do it because he knew what it was doing. He did it because he likes people. So he was asking for their birthdays so he can send them birthday cards. He knew when their anniversary was so he can tell them happy anniversary. I mean, it was simple, basically simple being a good neighbor, being a friend. He was tracking people because he wanted to be part of their lives. They were his family. But when he sold that list with his company, it paid off huge. And so now he does it for everything.
Smart man. I met people that have lists so valuable and so large that they trade. I mean, I met a guy, even actually, I'm going to talk about Jay Abraham. He's a big marketing guy. He's been around for probably 30 years. And he talks about how when he had his mailing list, it was so valuable and people were so responsive to his list that he was able to trade brand new cars for people to have access to his list. Jay Abraham, he's written so many books about marketing and different strategies of marketing, but he talks about how when he was building his list and he was so innovative back in, probably he's been around since the 80s, but he used to talk about getting Corvettes and getting Cadillacs and getting brand new cars because he will trade access to his list of hundreds of thousands of people that knew him and trusted him for traded for a vehicle or traded for a nice meal or traded for a vacation. That's how valuable they are.
Now, you just said something that scares a lot of people with their list. I mean, or getting on a list. He traded it for cars. So if
with permission.
With permission, okay.
Permission, because that's what, see, he was the kind of guy that he was really big into privacy because he will not just trade with anybody.
Okay.
So his list, he will send out an email, or not email, back then it was a letter asking for permission. Would you like to know about this friend of mine or partner of mine that is reliable, he's honest, and if you're looking for a vehicle, I will wholeheartedly recommend this person.
Okay, so he's passing his trust before he does it.
Yeah, so it has to be somebody that he trusted 100%. And it has to be something that people are willing to receive.
So I wanted to make that clear because when people do, see, and that's why I don't give my name to anybody.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that, yes.
Yeah, it's an ethical thing.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't give away their list just to, hey, want a buck? You know, it's not like that. It's, you trusted me with your contact, your information, and I'm going to pass my trust to this other person that I think you would benefit from.
Exactly. You know, and after a while, he explains that people were asking, it was like with Gary Barnes, people were asking for, who do you know that you can trust that I can go take my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter just got her license. Who do you know that I can take her and buy a car? So that's how valuable he became.
Yeah, passing trust.
Yeah.
People do business with those they know, like, and trust, and they do real business when they're ready, willing, and able.
Exactly.
Like how I incorporated that.
Pretty creative.
but that's the thing, and we need to track on that. We need to remember that kind of thing because it works for businesses, but you know it also works for relationships. I mean, you don't want to be with someone that you don't know, like, and trust, and when you're not ready, willing, and able. You know, it works for all systems or all arrangements, you know, all that kind of thing, any kind of relationship there is. And that's why I think it's so cool to have people in like your world of, I'm going to say techie, you're techie, in your world of tech, because there's so much that's happening in that tech world, in that online universe that is changing so fast, that right when, you know, us normal people who don't track this stuff, before we even catch up to what it's doing, it's gone 20 more steps. Technology's moving so fast. I mean, I'm sure there are things you know about that are coming that none of us right now have a clue is coming. and you're like, you know what, this is coming, and I know it. Just waiting for it. And you're waiting to share that with your customer base, because that's how fast your world moves.
That's right. That's right. You know, if you look specifically, I went and took a cybersecurity course and learned about cybersecurity because ransomware. I don't know. You know what ransomware is? It's when a hacker takes control of, like, say, a hospital's computer system, and they won't release access until you pay $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. So, but it doesn't have to be that big, because the problem is small business owners are not security conscious, so they don't have any safeguards in their systems. In the meantime, if somebody goes to somebody's store and they get hacked, the business owners will become liable, because that private information was stolen from his store, from his computer system. So I learned how to do or how to deal with cybersecurity because websites are getting hacked all the time. They're getting attacked. They're getting bombarded every day. WordPress is a really secure platform, but the problem with WordPress is they have a lot of add-ons that are not updated, and that's where the hackers take advantage of the system.
So you got to learn that too.
Yes.
So you added that to your toolbox of the other 15 billion things you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's important, because when you're working with a client and you're working on that end, that technical stuff, that's the next question. Well, I do this. Can someone take it, or can someone alter it? Can someone add words to it and make it say that something I didn't want to say? And that's a security thing. I mean, yeah. I remember being very afraid of that, because I didn't understand all of these security certificates and all this stuff. And I built my website. I ended up having to hire someone else, because I'm like, you know what, I'm not good at this. I mean, I can build it, but I can't lock it down. Yeah. You know, it's like my website was a Wikipedia. Anyone could add what they wanted on it. I had no idea what I was doing. And that's why I appreciate people like you, JC, who know what you're doing with that back end stuff. I mean, I'm all about, bright orange and flash, I can do this, but this background stuff, I mean, I'm impressed that I know how to use Zoom, okay?
That's pretty good. But, it's like you said, there's so much stuff coming out all the time, every day. Just, it's for us, and for me, that I'm the owner of the company. I have to set aside time to study and look at what's going on, what's happening in the news, and what's in the cybersecurity world. There's something called zero-day attack, which is an attack that has not been performed before. That type of maybe a virus that's completely new, and people in the cybersecurity industry have no answers yet to that. They have no remedy. So you got to be aware of something that might become, say, tonight, and what will affect my websites, my clients' websites. What should I do if it happens? So the things happening on, coming up all the time that our people are kind of get by surprise, and they don't know what to do. It just, when you have your business online and your transactions are run through your website, it's a nightmare. When you have a hospital and you're talking about people's private information, and all the records are being controlled by a company overseas, which is what happens, and they may be asking $240,000, $250,000 in a small town, maybe in Tennessee somewhere. I mean, it's pretty scary, because it happens everywhere in any city in the United States.
Terrifying.
Yes, it is.
I'm just thinking, you studied and you're keeping up on things like cybersecurity. And I know Facebook alone is changing things so fast, that lightning speed where they keep changing things up. But all those different platforms, all this stuff is just good going on you. Nice big brain you got there, because holy smokes, that's a lot to track. I mean, I used to be a big spreadsheet person. I would think that spreadsheet would be five times 5 miles long, because of all the changes you've got to track and the things that happen. If this, then that, and that, this, because of that. And now once you have this, you must make sure you have this, because that's what you're doing, right? If you open this thing, you must have this in order to protect this. Well, now that you have this, you need this thing, because.
Yeah, it can be chaotic, really chaotic.
Just thinking about it makes me a little chaotic.
It is, and you know, and the thing is, if we're part of that world already, because we're pretty much is, if we are doing social media, we're promoting ourselves, you know, we're part of that. You know, we can't get away unless we stop completely and we just say, forget it, I'm not going to be doing my business. And then if you do that, then you really are out of business, because nobody's going to find you, nobody's going to trust you, nobody's going to look for your website. So
Yeah, because the first things they do is they go to LinkedIn to find out if you're a real human.
exactly.
And then if you have a real business, and then they start searching all the other social media sites just to see what kind of person are you.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's terrifying, and I appreciate people like you in the world knowing what all this does. And I'm going to go back because we're done with our hour. Do you believe it or not, Mr. JC Soto?
Pretty fast.
It goes really quick. That's why I like the hour, because we can talk so much and get through so much. But I'm definitely going to start breaking things up more because you said so.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. But what we were talking about with JC Soto of onlinemedia360.com. So look it up, www.onlinemedia360.com, because what they do, what he and his company do, is they work on positioning companies for success, right? Authority positions, sales and lead funnels, trust triggers, press, you name it. All that stuff that you don't know how to do, that's all technology wise, it's what he does. And I appreciate that. And I've always said, you know, you always say people do business with those they know, like, and trust. And what JC has just reminded me of, it's not just what they know, like, and trust, it's who they, when they are ready, willing, and able to do it. And that's kind of what he does, is he helps manage when things go out, so you get the right people at the right time in their day and their life and their week to see what you're doing. He helps you become more the authority in your field so that people come to you. They won't just Google plumbers, they're gonna Google you, the plumber. And that's basically what you're trying to do. You want to get out of all the noise on the internet and be singled out as the number one, where people just, you end up just being, you know, the Coca-Cola of whatever you do.
That's right. That's right. You want people to say, well, instead of go search, go Google it. That's the point you want to get. Now, obviously, it's not realistic, but in your little market, in your little piece of the world, you want to be the go-to business, the go-to industry, the go-to guy or girl or person that is dominant in that market.
Yeah, where you've got such a marketing magnetism to you that you are the first name that comes to everyone's mind as the one to go to.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, JC, for spending the past hour with me.
That was fun.
Thank you. I really enjoy it. So everyone out there listening and watching, you've got JC Soto here, and if you want to learn more about him, www.onlinemedia360.com. Learn about what he does and reach out to him and say, hey, I need help because I need a team of people who know what I don't know. So until next week, everyone, I hope you have a fabulous week and be the best version of you. Remember, surround yourself with people who know more than you so that you look good, they look good, and you all together look better.